Now you're very welcome back this morning. Energy hikes are dominating many of the papers today, with more than half of people now struggling to pay their energy bills.
Sources are saying that the average electricity customer will now pay an extra €300 a year. But what can we do to save on energy at home and cut our bills? Well, Susan Andrews from the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland is here with all the answers. Well, you're here more importantly with tips, Susan, and I've been reading through these, and of course, like most good ideas, they sound very logical, but we do need to be reminded of them, and there are ways to do it. There are general things that we can do around the house.
There's a lot of small things, and funnily enough, you know, as we go through them, they'll sound small and insignificant, but actually, I'd always remind people that, you know, a quarter of Ireland's energy consumption comes from households. And if we all start changing our behaviours and consider how we use energy and reduce that energy, we're all doing our bit, and collectively it's going to
make
the
an
pressure
impact.
off the grid.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if I wasn't sitting on this sofa, I'd be at home recording this, because this is an exciting segment to talk about, because this is going to make a difference if we do things like turning down temperatures and obviously doing our washes at different times. So talk us through the first one. I suppose heating is the big one for Ireland.
Well, heating accounts for 80% of your energy demand in the house. So anything you can do to reduce your turning on your heat is going to help with your bills, absolutely. So we would always say, look at your thermostat. If you have it up over 20 degrees, turn it down. 20 degrees is perfect for living areas. Even a 1 degree drop is going to, save you about 10% on your energy bills.
So 20 degrees.
Yeah, now that's for living areas, but in bedrooms and hallways and that, you can even go lower. 15 to 18 degrees is fine.
Can I ask you about, obviously, the difference? There's radiators, there's storage heaters, because a lot of people have different heating systems. So let's talk through radiators first of all.
Yeah, well, just look at what, the temperature you have. Like, every radiator has a dial on it. So in rooms that you're not using on a daily basis, we always have those...
Turn the heat off.
You don't need to be blasting the heat. So just check and make sure that... And also little things like make sure they're working efficiently. Often they get airlocks, so that get them to bleed them, so that, that you're getting that full efficiency out of your heating system.
What about appliances, Susan? In particular, dishwashers, washing machines.
Yeah, well, a lot of the new appliances now have eco settings, but even if they don't, it's all about turning the temperature down on them. So again, the second big energy demand in your house is hot water. So those appliances are using a lot of energy to create hot water to be used. So eco settings will do the exact same job, just on a lower temperature.
Lower the temperature. What about the fridge freezer in terms of the temperature?
Yeah, I mean, if you keep your fridge between 2 to 3 degrees, that's absolutely fine, or minus 15 for your freezer. Little tip is, I mean, even if you have the freezer or the fridge door open, 10 to 20 seconds, it's going to take 45 minutes for that fridge to get back to its original temperature to cool down. So I'm a devil for leaving the door open and walking off and getting something to... Don't do that.
One thing you mentioned there was about washing clothes, but we didn't get to the degrees. It says here 30 degrees to wash your clothes, is that right?
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's fine. And other things like stay away from tumble dryers. I mean,
they're the culprits.
Absolutely, and especially now we're coming into the brighter and hopefully hotter weather. Use your washing lines
this morning.
What about timers and controls? Let's start with heating timers. So obviously that again changes because the season is changing. Now we're coming into summer.
Yeah, and again, it's a great way to control your heating. So if you put in, like, we have now smart controls where you can use apps on your phones, and it zones your heating and your hot water. So especially now, again, coming into the warmer months, you mightn't want your heating on, you might just want to heat your hot water, and it gives you more control, and it's going to, again, you could save up to about 20%.
Well, of course, the classic Irish immersion jokes that go around the houses is very funny, but I mean, in truth, it is about switching them off before you're actually about to jump into the shower. Yeah,
absolutely, and use the timers and make sure you only have it on. And other little tips, like, we might have the heating set to stay on for an hour, but your radiators are still emitting heat after you turn the boiler off, so you might only need to have it on for half an hour.
What about blow fans, the culprits? I love them.
Cost a fortune.
Had one on this morning.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck with your bill now next month.
No, mine
open the window.
Let's look at the heading.
Anyway,
let's look at the heading. Switch it off.
Yeah.
And start with heating, and we go through appliances and devices. So turn the heating off when you leave the house, and if you go away, like, sometimes you forget.
Yeah, and even timers. Remember, if you've got your heating on a timer, you might go away for 2 weeks, and the heat's still time to come on and off. So remember to switch them off. And
what about appliances? And I've always had this debate in terms of, when you say switch them off, that's pull the plug out or leave them on standby? Because it's still using energy if it's on standby, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, one of my colleagues said to me there a few days ago, and it stuck in my head, was if it's red, kill it dead. So if you see, you know, a little red light on your TV or on anything lit up, that means there's power coming into it. And I'm somebody now, I walk around the house and I unplug all the chargers, you know, and especially now that we're working from home quite a lot, you know, we have every appliance plugged in and
But I
on
know
standby.
myself, Susan, with 4 kids in the house, at night is when I charge everything, because that's when they're all gone to bed. I'll go around, I'll hoover up all the devices,
Yeah.
and I'll put them on charge at night. So,
But the fact is, they'll only need about, what, an hour max to charge,
Yeah.
and you might be asleep 7, 8 hours. So
You
it's
mentioned there about turning off the
Lord.
television.
I hear it mounting up.
I would freak out turning plugging my TV out because I've all my things connected and, do you know?
Pull the plug.
No.
Yes,
No, I
well,
couldn't turn my
best of luck
TV
next
off. I
month.
couldn't turn that off.
But
No,
even
because-
just a switch on the sockets, like most of the sockets now have a little power switch, just knock it off. And
All right, okay. Lighting. Okay, that's a fair enough one. And cookers as well. Let's talk through
Maximum
those.
use of daylight. I
Well,
love
yeah,
this.
I mean, and now, like, with the clocks have
Yeah.
changed, so, you know, don't be turning on your lights when you don't need to. It sounds basic, but it's going to save you
I'm
money.
going straight
I
to
love the
candles.
idea.
Light bulbs.
I love the idea you mentioned. You talk about layout, positioning the furniture in the house to make use of the light, like most of the natural
Using
light.
candles from tonight onwards.
Light bulbs and turning off the lights and sensors. Tell us about sensors.
Yeah, well, that's outside lights. So, you know, instead of switching your light on outside and leaving it
Yeah.
on all night, you know, it's mainly for security, really, or if somebody's coming up your driveway. So put it on a sensor.
What about cooking? Rings and ovens, you know, people leave them on. They do.
Yeah, I know.
Kill them at
You'd be
night.
surprised. Yeah, the cooker switch is great. I mean, we forget about it. Switch it off.
We were talking about something before we came on air in terms of insulation and drafts. Let's talk about that then, because, you know, a lot of us, like myself, will need
Yeah.
to get stuff retro insulated. So
Yeah, well,
talk about drafts
people
first of all.
Well, with drafts, that's the quick and easy thing. You can go to
Yeah.
your local hardware, you can get draft stripping.
Yeah.
I mean, even things, remember to close the door you're sitting in to keep the heat in.
Yeah.
And these are all tips that things we can do, and it's all about changing behaviours. And you can do it straight away, it's not going to cost you money. But ultimately, if you're in a position to go and insulate your home, that's really going to give you a long-term benefit, both comfort and cost, you know,
Yeah.
savings on your energy bill. So that's all about, you know, attic insulation, wall insulation, making sure you've got good doors and windows that aren't drafty. All of that is about keeping that valuable heat in
And
your
people
home.
might be saying, well, hang on, insulate the attic, and that's going to cost me money. But you were saying to me that there are grants available.
There are. So actually the grants increased there early February. So they used to cover about a third of the cost. Now they cover up to about 50% of the cost. And then for attic and cavity wall insulation, we've grants that cover up to 80% of the cost. So we really want people to understand that that's where you're going to get the benefit. If
And
you
where
look
do
at-
people
Yeah.
get that information in terms of just walking through what grants are available?
We have a huge amount of information on the SCAI website, so it's scai.ie. And just to say, we are at the Ideal Homes Show in the RDS today and all weekend, so we've a stand there. I'll be
Very
there
good.
today. So, you know, if you're dropping by, do pop into it.
Lisa's going to be on straight down after
I'm
the show.
straight down. I've loads of
With
questions
a
for
pen
you.
and paper.
I'll be re-watching this when I go home.
Oh, Lord.
Showers, a real quick one, because obviously they use 20% of the energy. So what should we do there? What about baths? Which is better?
A shower would use 20% energy compared to a bath. So, you
Yeah.
know, a bath is a rule of thumb as well, just on appliances, is if it's an appliance that heats something and it heats it quickly, then it's a big energy guzzler.
kettle.
There's another note for you. Susan, thank you so much for
No
your time. The
problem at
best of
all.
luck over the next couple of days.
Thanks very much.